Hi everybody, Adele here, and I'm delighted to introduce Lisa from Zinc Hair into the studio. Lisa is the Vice President of the IHF, and she's in to talk about all things hair today, and we have some questions for Lisa. So hi Lisa, how are you doing?
Hi, good, yeah, good. Early start now, beautifying yourself and Gwen, but sure.
I know, most people who know me know that my hair does not look like this normally. So Lisa is a magician, I have to say. And I've had texts and messages from my besties saying, I've never looked this good, and it's all down to Lisa here. So thank you so much for getting up so early to help us out today. So the first question we have in for you is, and this is a question actually that I would ask myself, because usually my hair is, people who know me, is really fuzzy. It used to be curly until I had kids, and then it went a little bit crazy. So what is the best kind of shampoo to use for different types of hair?
So it really, I suppose, shampoo really is so important when it does come to controlling your hair and getting it looking really good and glossy and shiny. So it comes down to whether your hair needs moisture or whether your hair needs protein. So if your hair is very dry, it's going to need more moisturizing shampoos. And if it's a little bit brittle and perhaps like breaking, that's when you're going to need something that's got a bit more protein. Now you might need a bit of both. So I did bring a couple of little shampoos and stuff with me today. So Moroccan oil would be like one of my favorite shampoos. I do actually teach for these guys as well, but they have sulfate free, they're paraben free, they're color safe, so they're kind of everything that you want in a shampoo. And the moisture repair is gorgeous. That's going to give you your little bit of moisturizing, your little bit of protein, and then it's just going to, like, each time you use it, your hair is going to continue to get better. After that, then a really good conditioner as well, and then if you do a mask maybe once a week is a really good idea, just for getting all of that lovely hydration into the hair, make it a bit more manageable.
Okay, brilliant advice. And even for myself, as I said, I'm a mum of 3 kids. Sometimes I don't take the time out, but I probably should for the mask. Another question we have in here is, and it was in a few times, I get an itchy scalp, what can I do? And I also have dandruff.
Okay, so it could come back again to the shampoo that you're using. So a lot of supermarket brand shampoos will very often have like sulfates in them, and they can be a little bit of an irritant on the scalp. So if you need, if you can, ideally a sulfate-free shampoo. There are other products then if you do have like dandruff, psoriasis, a bit of an itchy scalp, where you can exfoliate your scalp. So that's one of these ones that I brought in. This is actually the gentle exfoliating scrub. So I'll give this a little wipe off there, and I'm going to give that over to you, Adele, to have a little look at.
Thank you so much.
And that has little exfoliating scrubs in it, so little granules. So what you do is you apply that to your hair dry, and you work it into the scalp, really kind of working on any of those little dry patches, and that will actually help to soothe that bit of an itch. And then there are also like calming and soothing ingredients in that as well that will help to kind of settle your scalp. Then you're going to follow up with your really nice shampoo then afterwards to just kind of give you a lovely base. So like we exfoliate our skin, we need to exfoliate our scalp as well. It's really important to kind of remove any product buildup. Very often, like, our water is very hard as well in Ireland, so there's a lot of minerals, chlorine, you know, kind of copper, all these different, like, lime that can actually cause a little bit of build up on the scalp. So these little scrubs are amazing then for that too.
Well, I have to say that I have never even heard of exfoliating scrub. Obviously for my face I have. So exfoliating scrub, a good tip, a very good tip, and one that I will be using myself. Another question we have in here for you is tips for blow drying. And after you watching you this morning blow dry my hair, I have to say I don't even own a hairdryer, which you're probably going to give out to me about. But watching you do it this morning, I'm amazed at how you made me look like this. So tips for blow drying your own hair would be really helpful.
So, and that funny, like, it's funny you're saying like that you don't have a hairdryer, because that is usually the biggest thing, is that in salons we use professional hairdryers. So definitely go out and invest in a good hairdryer, because I do think that makes all the difference. Very often people say to me, oh, I can't blow dry my own hair, and they're using like a little 10-year-old little travel hairdryer that they've had banging around drawers for years. I couldn't blow dry your hair with that. So you'd need to get a really good professional hairdryer. And then again, again, like your products that you can use like, you know, anything that's like for frizz control, or maybe if your hair is very fine, you might want to use something for volume. And those products again will help then when you're blow drying. So blow dry your hair till it's at least 80% dry, I would say, because otherwise if you're starting from wet, it's going to take forever. Your arms are going to be hanging off you by the end of it. So give it a really good blast dry. Get about 80% of that water out, and then start to section it off. So the first thing you want to do is, if you want to be a bit lazy, just kind of do it in 2 sections. So section up the top part, blow dry all the underneath, drop down the top, and then blow dry that part. And by blow drying the underneath first and then following up on the top, it will actually help it to stay smoother for a bit longer. And then finish off with a cold setting. So very often, like when our hair is still hot, it's more moldable. So you'll have blow dried it smooth, but then if it's still hot and you're kind of touching it, you'll get little marks in it. So I didn't do the cold setting today myself, right? But I put my hair behind my ear straight after I blow dried it. So now I have this lovely kind of like little loop that keeps like popping out here because I didn't blow dry it with the cool. So the cool air is what kind of sets your blow dry then afterwards. So that's a really good tip, and that gives it lots of shine as well.
It even amazes me that you can do your own hair. I like, you know, no, but seriously, because you know the way I can understand you doing someone else's hair, but even trying to do my own hair, I don't know where I'd even start. But I'm going to listen back to this, listen to all the tips, and hopefully I'll get there one day. Another question we have in here is from people, I've never colored my hair, but I want to try something different. And this is something I've actually noticed, the rainbow hair and the different colors hair, which I'm fascinated with color, and I love the oranges, the reds. I've even seen some purple hair that I love. But where do you start when you want to go for a real color?
So that's the thing, it depends. Are you going to color your hair because you've got grays and you want to maybe disguise them? If so, I would always say, like, get into a hair salon and have a little consultation. Most hair salons do consultations completely free of charge. So like, just book in, ask them, can you pop in, have a little chat before you maybe reach for the home color at home and end up like, you know, it can go okay, but then it can also go really wrong with home color. So you've got to be careful with that. So pop in, have a consultation. Maybe you just want a few grays blended away. If you want those more like intense colors, so obviously you guys are like designers, you love like all these blues and pinks and all these gorgeous like colors today that we're looking at, you're definitely going to need a professional to help you, because 9 times out of 10 you need to bleach the hair. So you've got to like bleach the hair to the point where it's light enough to be able to reflect that color really, really well. And those kind of colors, like your, you know, your kind of pinks and your purples and your reds and those like kind of rainbow colors, they fade off really, really quickly off the hair. So they need a lot of maintenance. So again, if you go to a hair salon, they can give you some really good advice as to whether or not, you know, are you going to be a high maintenance person? Maybe you're like Adele that wants to be low maintenance. You're going to let your own color actually grow out as well, aren't you? Which is fab. And that's, we've had so many clients who've decided that they're going to actually go and embrace their natural, and we're helping them on that journey too. So, you know, even if you do want to move away from color, you can still come to a hair salon and we can advise you and kind of help you in that as well. But overall, like, I mean, I love hair color. I am not a natural ginger, but I feel like it suits my skin a little bit better to be a natural ginger. I'm a natural gray. There's no like grager because I'm very gray. So I like my little bit of hair color, and probably one day I will go gray gracefully, but not for maybe like another 10, 20 years. See, I have to like advertise my product. It's like, you know, if I came to your house would have to look amazing.
Yeah, well, it doesn't always. I have 3 kids, so it doesn't always look amazing. But I love the color of your hair. I really love it. But I am going to embrace the grey, as you probably noticed. And we have had that conversation this morning, and you've told me things that I can do. So yeah, tell people out there what they can do, because it is good to get advice because I obviously have a lot of hair and I have a lot of colour. So how do I do this gracefully without it looking a total mess?
So if you are going to embrace the grey and you're going to move away from having hair colour, I would say, like, get in and have a really good chat with your hairdresser about it, because if you're like, your color does actually blend a little, especially through the back, and then you've got that lovely placement of like where you're that little bit kind of whiter in the front. So I would be suggesting, like, for yourself, that we'd be lightening that old color that's here to kind of blend in with that a little bit more, but only that front section, and let everything else grow out naturally. And then we can advise, there might be like blue tone shampoos and things like that that will actually allow that grey to be enhanced as it's growing. Now, if you're very, very dark and very, very white, obviously that's a bigger job. But a lot of people, you just need to start to go gradually lighter, and then you can start to embrace the grey and let that kind of grow out gracefully. But it is like, I mean, some people like yourself, you've this beautiful placement of grey at the front, and like then you've got your lovely natural then through the back. So I think when it does grow out, it's actually going to be amazing.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Hopefully it is. That's the dream. That's because, you know, the way you look on, you know, you see photographs of lovely ladies with gorgeous, that's the way I want my hair. But there's another question in here, and I'd say this is going to be for loads of people. Should you and can you straighten your hair every day?
So there's nothing saying you can't. It just depends, I suppose, on your hair type. If your hair is very fine and you're straightening it every single day, you are going to be like causing damage. So you need to be using like heat protection, you know, kind of shields. There's heat protection sprays that you can use. I would also say that, you know, you don't necessarily need to be straightening it every single day. The more heat you use, the more damage you're going to cause. So ideally, those blow drying tips that I was talking about, if you can blow dry the hair as much as possible and then just use your straightener to go over it. One big mistake people make when they're using straighteners is they'll get their hair, I don't have a straightener here, but I'm going to pretend my fingers are a straightener. And people do this, they kind of like are going like this with their hair, like when they're straightening it. Now that's actually going to overheat the hair in certain parts, and that's definitely going to cause damage. So what you want to do is blow dry your hair as smooth as possible, then get your straighteners and come in and just very slowly and smoothly move the straighteners down and then through the hair, and that will actually get you a much better finish and cause a lot less damage.
Okay. So I have really frizzy hair. If I brush my hair, I look like, you know, Marge Simpson's sisters out of The Simpsons. If I brush my hair like that, it kind of goes like this, because I did have curly hair before I had babies. Then I had babies, and then I just got frizz. So how can I stop the frizz?
So when you've got naturally curly hair and you brush it, it will literally just frizz. So there's a thing called the curly girl method. So if you guys look that up online, it's amazing. Like, so they've got all these tips for all the different types of curls that there are. So for me, I would be saying one of the first things for you would be when you shampoo your hair and you go to towel dry it, don't vigorously towel dry it, because that will cause friction and that will cause frizz. So you want to get your towel and you want to just squeeze your hair dry and remove as much of the water as you possibly can that way. And then rather than brushing it, try and just detangle with your fingers and just use your fingers rather than brushes, because brushes can cause damage as well. And then it comes down to using your moisturizing kind of products. So there's lovely curl and defining creams. There is Moroccan oil, have a beautiful product called Original Treatment. It's their first product that they ever brought out, and that is amazing. That really feeds the hair, and the more that you mind your curls and the less that you brush them and straighten them, the better they're going to get. So over time your curls will continue to get better and springier, and it's amazing. But like, look up the curly girl method, it's really really good.
I have heard of it. There's loads of them. I actually looked at that recently. But is there a brush that is made for curly hair?
So there's kind of afro combs are really good for curly hair, because they do kind of like work through without disturbing and breaking the curl pattern. But if you do have to brush your hair when you've got like curly hair, try and do it obviously when it's wet. Don't do it when it's dry, because it will just go to frizz.
Okay. And I noticed a lot of people couldn't wait for the hairdressers to open. So they went out and bought the box. Okay. And I heard loads of people, they went out, bought the box, did the home job, and then had a little bit of a panic attack. How do we fix that? Is it fixable, or is there a lot to do to fix it?
It just totally depends. I mean, when somebody colors their hair, if it's very, very, if it's a lot darker than what you had intended, that's difficult. That's where you have to start lifting the hair back up through the levels. If it's too light, that's kind of easier. We can kind of tone that down a little bit easier. But if it's too dark, that's a bigger job. But definitely get back into a salon and let them have a little look for you, and they can kind of guide you. One of the things I would say though, when it comes to like colouring hair, whether you're using home colour or whether you're going to get coloured in a salon, one thing that's essential is that you patch test. So there's a lot of people do take allergic reactions. I mean, like, let's face it, we can be allergic to strawberries. So you can be allergic to like the most natural things in the world. So with hair color, they are chemicals, and even the ones that are ammonia free or that, you know, use oils, they still can cause an allergic reaction. So very important to get in, have your patch test done in the salon, do your patch test even if you're going to color at home 48 hours before you plan to color. And then if you've any kind of irritation, like we usually do it like just on the neck here, if you've any kind of redness or irritation, then you can you'll know before you've kind of like lashed it all over your head.
And then dandruff, the big question about dandruff, Head and Shoulders or something else? Or is there one for different hairs?
So Head and Shoulders like is the devil. Like, that's the only way I'm going to put it. I have such an issue with Head and Shoulders. The problem is that Head and Shoulders for years have told people that if they have white flakes on their shoulder that they have dandruff. Now, dandruff is actually a fungal infection on your scalp, and dandruff very often has actually got a slight little yellowy tinge to it, and it needs a medicated shampoo. So Head and Shoulders is a really strong detergent in it that will clean anything off your scalp. You could probably put a bit of, you know, grease on there from your frying pan and it would take it off. It's a really strong detergent, which is why it cleanses your scalp, so it'll take everything off it. But the problem is, the more that you use that, the more that it's kind of irritating your scalp. And I do feel like that a lot of people get the flakes then from the irritation, and it kind of becomes this vicious circle. So if you do think that you have dandruff, it generally has a slight little yellowy tinge on it, and not white flakes. White flakes are just dry scalp, or it could be even a residue of product. I see we don't have long left, and actually we never mentioned the fact that we want you to donate to the Coombe. And so I've been saying this like on my Instagram all day as well. So it's like you text Coombe to 50300 to donate €4. And it's just, and it's an amazing cause, and I think the guys in the Coombe are amazing. Like, a lot of my girls, I have 15 staff, all girls, lots of them have given birth up there, and one of them did sadly lose a baby, and those guys were amazing in the Coombe. So, you know, they need all the help that they can get. So never mind the hair stuff, donate.
Thank you so much for coming in. I've learned loads. I'd say everybody has learned loads, because it's so at the moment people are asking questions about their hair because they're at home. But we just want to say thank you to Beauty Bag for sponsoring this. As Lisa said, please text donate. We have worked so hard over the past 8 weeks, and we just want to say that Beauty Bag have 15% discount.
And Beauty Bag do actually sell Moroccan oil as well.
And they sell Moroccan oil, which Lisa had spoken about. If you use Inside Out 15 discount code at checkout, beautybag.ie. And we just want to say again, Lisa, thanks a million. I've learned so much. And thanks for making me look this good. Take care. Bye-bye.